Okay, recording starting. Don't say anything naughty. Okay, don't say anything naughty. The recording is going. So hopefully you can see my screen. Let me get my screen all set. Oh, sorry, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. So, I might yawn. Don't take offense. You're not boring me. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is evaluating resources. You're going to have to do research papers here, no matter what your major. And when you get out there in the real world, you're going to have to back up what you say. You're not going to have to write a paper about it, but you can't just say, hey, let's do it this way. And they'll say, why? And you'll be like, I don't know, it just kind of felt right. Sometimes that works, depends on the business you're going into, but you're going to have to you're going to have to back up what you say. And we want to talk about evaluating resources. So obviously, remember, I know that guy too. He's not a student here; he's a teacher. Um, Remember, Rio put this together. So if you see corny stuff, that was him, not me. Remember, Rio is the guy who makes Ned Flanders look wild. See, you can't trust quotes on the internet. Haha, Ben Franklin. Yeah, he didn't say that. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, now, and Nicholas, if you want to just type, in the chat box, yes or no, that's fine. Now, think about it. Are newspapers reliable resources? Would you consider a newspaper? Here's two examples. You got the Wall Street Journal, and you got the Weekly World News. I miss the Weekly World News. Oh, they have a great paper. Bat Boy, he's still alive. Good for him. Good for Bat Boy. So are they considered reliable? Well, yes and no. The Wall Street Journal, if you're not doing the opinion section, yes, that's reliable. It's considered a good resource. I don't know why Weekly World News. I mean, Bat Boy, he's found in a cave. Good for him. No, Weekly World News would not be considered reliable. Okay, Facebook. When I did this yesterday, I asked everyone, "Oh, Facebook reliable?" And of course, someone goes, "Yeah, mine is. No one else is." So pretty much, yeah, Facebook's not a reliable resource. No way. It doesn't matter who you're using. Opinion is always going to sneak into there somehow. So no, Facebook is not reliable. Wikipedia, is Wikipedia a good resource? Maybe, maybe not. The answer is, got a drum roll here. No, Wikipedia is not a good site. Now, let me put a little caveat in here. Wikipedia is a good site to use to give you direction to go in. It's not good to quote from. Don't ever say, oh, well, I read this on Wikipedia, so it's true. I'm going to show you in a few minutes how it's not true. I can show you many places where Wikipedia is wrong or where you can change it, and they might not catch up to you. So Wikipedia is a good place, though, to go and get links to different resources, but it is not a good place to cite. Now, I don't know if you guys ever saw these. You might have seen these in history class. They're called encyclopedias. This is a pre-internet, pre-interwebs. When I was a kid, remember, I'm much older. When I was a kid, I had a set of these. They were called Columbia, I think. But, what they say is encyclopedias are good as a resource, but I kind of think not, because let's say I still had my Columbia encyclopedias. They would say Pluto is a planet. Now, in my eyes, Pluto will always be a planet. I love Pluto. But according to the scientists, it's no longer a planet. So right there, the book would be wrong. And I don't even read Stephen King. I don't know why everyone loves him so much. I never got into him. So really, books, it depends on the book. It depends how old the book is. Now, blogs. Blogs are a 50-50 shot, because let's say this blog is connected to somebody who is very well respected in the field, and it's a research blog, and they're just giving you information about their research, then that's fine. That's a completely legitimate blog. But if it's an opinion thing, like, I don't know, political stuff, no, not reliable. Now you have something called EBSCOhost. Journals, academic research, PhD dissertations. Is it reliable? Damn right it is. Absolutely, it's reliable. Now I'm going to give you a little hint here. When you do your research, and especially when you're writing research papers, I'm going to type it here. In your citation list, you should never see EBSCOhost in the list. So when you see a citation list, you see a bunch of stuff on the citation list, you should never ever see EBSCOhost in there. EBSCOhost, it's like Google. EBSCOhost is just a way to find things. All that EBSCOhost is a big Google search engine that looks at specific databases. And once again, those databases are simply depositories of research. like LexisNexis is one of the databases. ERIC is another one. Oh, I used to know a bunch of these. I think ERIC is for educational papers. LexisNexis, I think, is for everything. But you would use EBSCOhost to get to LexisNexis. Now, when you want to use EBSCOhost, go to the library, go to the Full Sail library, and there's a link. Oh, Shane's trying it again. Any luck this time, Shane? Let's see if he pops in. I'm still waiting for his signal on my end. But what I was saying is that, yay, you made it, Shane. Woohoo! So, Shane, all you did is you restarted again? Or did you get someone from tech to help you? We should get you a mic. You know, we'll take a collection. We'll get you a mic. Oh, okay. Well, it's good that you made it. So you haven't missed a lot. I'm just talking about what's considered. When you saw the X pop up on the screen, that means it's not a reliable resource. Oh, it's in the speaker properties. Okay. Well, glad you found it. What I was saying about EBSCOhost is when EBSCOhost is a terrific, reliable source, but EBSCOhost is Google. It's just a way to find things. In a paper, you never cite EBSCOhost. You'll never see the words EBSCOhost in a citation. You would see the words LexisNexis, but you would not see EBSCOhost. Google Scholar, that's the same thing. Google Scholar, you would never see Google Scholar in a citation. You would see the actual article in the citation. Google Scholar is just a special Google app that lets you find peer-reviewed papers. By the way, let me go back to this for 1 sec. When you go to the library, go to the Full Sail library. At the Full Sail library, there's a link for databases, and click on that. That gets you to EBSCOhost and LexisNexis and all that stuff. Don't just type in Google and go EBSCOhost, because then you're going to have to pay for it. By the way, this is how I know that somebody did not watch the archive, because they always send me an email going, EBSCOhost is asking me for money. What do I do? And I'm like, maybe you should watch the archive, because I told you how not to do that. So EBSCOhost is through the Full Sail library. And Google Scholar. Oh, the other thing I want to say, peer-reviewed. When you search for articles, if you really want to make your argument sparkle, there's a checkbox that says peer-reviewed. Check that checkbox, and it only brings up peer-reviewed articles. Means other people in the field looked at this article and said, yeah, this is right. Okay, now forums. Forums are a lot like blogs. It's a 50-50 shot. It depends what kind of forum it is. If it's a forum about geological history, and someone very learned in the field is hosting it, it's probably a good thing to cite. If it's a political forum, it's not going to be a good thing to cite, because everybody has a slant. There's Fox News, there's MSNBC, there's CNN. They all have political slants. And I'm not telling you which one I adhere to, because I do adhere to one. Okay, so these are ones that are good, reliable resources. These are ones that are bad, reliable resources. Now, the 10 C's. I'm going to talk about the 10 C's in a second. So let me just get this out of the way for a minute. I want to show you some websites. And if you want to go here, that's fine. Okay, here's a website called martinlutherking.org. When the interwebs first started, org meant organization. It was meant for nonprofits. So a lot of people would look at this and go, oh, okay, it's about Martin Luther King. It is about Martin Luther King. But if you look at this, when one of my students years ago pointed this out to me, and I remember looking at it when it first came up, I'm like, there's something wrong about this site. It just didn't feel right to me. And I looked around and I'm like, wait, Black Invention myths? Why the holiday should be repealed? There's something not right about this. So let me bring up the presentation again. One of the things is credibility, content, censorship, things like that. I looked around and I saw, hosted by Stormfront. I know who Stormfront is. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Stormfront, but here is Stormfront. Stormfront is basically a neo-Nazi group. They are white power groups. See, white pride, wide world. So I could see, okay, they got a little slant going on here. So now, once again, if you like them, I'm not saying anything. I personally don't. But that's your choice. I'm not going to grade you or anything if that's the group you're part of. But I was like, wow, these guys, as disgusting as this site is, I got to give them credit. They really nailed it by calling it martinlutherking.org. How many kids would go here thinking they're doing some research and not realizing it's propaganda against him? So that's why you got to really see who wrote the site. Is there a slant to it? Sorry, I had something on my thumb. So you got to be careful about these things. Now, there was another website I remember years ago called whitehouse.com. I don't even think it, let me see if it even works anymore. Whitehouse.com. I don't know if it does. Yeah, someone bought it and they're just parking it right now. Whitehouse.com, when the internet first started, Whitehouse.com was, it was a porn site. Yeah, exactly. See, oh, Shane, ooh, that's scary. You knew that so fast, Shane. It was a porn site. And once again, I give them a lot of credit because when the internet first started, nobody really thought to type gov or org. They just immediately typed com for everything. So bam, they got a lot of traffic. Actually, the White House wasn't even whitehouse.gov. It was like whgovernment.gov. It was something weird. So once again, excellent marketing. So you got to be careful where you go. Although, with some presidents, who the hell knows if the whitehouse.com could have been a porn site, it could have been their site. I'm not saying who. There's certain presidents I like and certain ones I don't. I like the guy we have now. So that's your choice. Now, I wanted to talk about Wikipedia. Remember I said Wikipedia is a good place to start. Now, the reason I'm a diehard Steeler fan, but the reason I brought this up is because I'm such a fan, I know certain things that, granted, they're extremely minor, but I'm proving a point here. There you go, Steeler Nation. Excellent, Shane. You just got an A+. You're 100% for you. That's right, Nicholas. You failed. Although, Nicholas, no, you're not a Cowboy fan, so you're good. Okay, so here's how I knew something was up with Wikipedia. This guy right here, Jack Ham, number 59. It says here, these are retired numbers that are no longer issued since the retirement of the player. Now, this is how sad I am. I looked at it and go, wait a second, 1983, Todd Seabaugh got that number. Todd Seabaugh was like a third-round pick, and I remembered that. So here, if I go here, this is how sad I am. Like I said, I can't remember calculus, but I can remember the damn Steeler players. Here, let me go back to Google. Let me go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Okay, let's go to Todd There he is, Todd Seabaugh. That's scary. He has a Wikipedia page. Ay, ay, ay. Now, when I looked at it, yeah, I'm a big-time diehard fan. I know. I can tell you Terry Bradshaw's final stats in his last game because I remember it. That's how pathetic. It was 5 of 8. 5 of 8 for 2 touchdowns and I think 88 yards. But look, even here it says he's best remembered for wearing Jack Ham's number 59. So even there, they're contradicting themselves. But that's how unreliable that Wikipedia is. Now, another thing here, I'll show you this. I collect old video games. I'm talking pre-crash. So everything to me, anything came out after 1984 is too new for me. Like the NES, the original NES, to me, that's way too new. One of the I forgot, it might have been one of you guys, but one of the students goes, oh, I remember playing Duck Hunt. What a great classic game. And I'm like, oh, good for you, Shane. Your whole family gets A's. Good for you. Duck Hunt, and I'm like, I wrote him back. I said, Duck Hunt, that was you? Okay, yeah, I wrote back. I'm like, okay, to you that might be an old game. To me, that's like really new. I don't touch that stuff. My kids have these new games. My kid wanted a classic arcade game, a classic system. So I think he got a Nintendo 64. I'm like, really? That's old to you? I have a Pong game. I have the first game, Odyssey. And then I have the Odyssey 2 and television, Atari. But anyway, what I was bringing up with this is that I happened to be just surfing one day and I looked at this and it talked about non-Atari releases. And they had a bunch listed here, but they didn't have Microsurgeon listed. They had a different one listed here. I think they had Atlantis listed here. I wrote them and I said, no, that's wrong. Atlantis was released for the Atari also. It's Microsurgeon that wasn't. And look, they changed it for me, which is very nice of them. So they didn't, I don't know if they really checked it or if they just took me at my word. I think I did send them a picture of the cartridge. But once again, you can change things. I could go in and change anything I want. Now, granted, they could catch up to me and probably change it back. But if it's a minor thing like this, they're probably never going to catch me. So that's Wikipedia. It's a great place to start, but don't use it as your citations. Okay, now there's other things to worry about here. The content, we just talked about the content, like with that martinlutherking.org, credibility. Here, copyright. When was it copywritten? Was it copywritten back in 1992? That's a long time ago. Censorship. I don't know. Do you live in North Korea? It's going to be censored. Here, credibility. This one, I remember somebody quoting a paper. This was about 3 years ago. Based their entire argument on a paper. What is it? Hold on. I'll click on that in a second, Shane. He based his entire paper on this from a PhD. Now, unfortunately, the guy had a PhD in geology, and he was writing a Shakespeare paper. And I'm like, really? This guy probably doesn't know anything about Shakespeare. Okay, let me see what we got here. Shane's giving me something to click on. Of course, I got tons of those A/B switches. Yeah, those are great. I got that. I got the ones that I still have the ones that, the two prongs on the back. Yeah, I can look around for the A/B switch. I know I have it someplace. Why, you need one? I'll look. It's a mess in my garage, but I'm sure I have an A/B switch someplace. I think I even have a real big one that's got a real big thing on the front. Remind me about that. I'll see if I can find it. Okay, so let's go back into here. I need to get back to where did my presentation go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so now this other one's Zaba search. I like to show this. It really doesn't deal with reliable stuff right now, but I just think it's a fun site, and we're going to talk about it again later. So I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Zaba search. It's a free search tool. We're going to talk about this it's either next week or the week after. We're going to talk about this, but I just like putting this in here because I like people to play with this, that this is a way that you can find people. It hasn't caught up to me. It's a completely free search. I'm going to look for myself. I used to live in Pennsylvania for a very short time. So here, I want to show you. I'm going to look for me. Now, Zaba search works based on public records. If you've bought a house, if you were awarded something from your local county, if you were in jail, it will be here. See, there I am. That's where I used to live. Now, what I want to show you, what's scary about this is that is my phone. That was my phone number. I never gave it to them, but somehow they got my phone number. I remember back in 96, I think it was, the Steelers were playing the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving, and they showed the Steelers all at Jerome Bettis's house. And I went to Zaba search, and I found Jerome Bettis's father's phone number. That was the phone number for that house. I was so tempted to call them, but I figured, they're going to track me down and kill me. So I didn't do it. But it's not perfect here. I'm going to look for myself in Florida because I live in Florida now, and I've lived here for a few years. But it takes a while for it to catch up to you. Let me see. I bet it hasn't even caught up to me yet. Nope. None of those are me. No, it hasn't caught up to me. So just play around with it. See if you can find your friends, your neighbors, things like that. And next week, we're going to go into it a little more. Now, let's talk about the assignments that we have. Okay, let me go back here. Back to activities. The first one I want to talk about is the debate. A lot of people are wondering about this debate. This is another way I can tell that somebody has not watched the video or come to one of the sessions, because they always send me an email about the fact that these 4 right here, they get a late thing showing up. FSO does not handle group exercises well, so they had to split it up like this, and late's going to show up on these because there's nothing to submit to them right now. So don't panic. It's not a big deal. It doesn't mean anything. What team are you guys on? Just Nicholas and Shane. What team? Do you remember? Okay, team B, A team. The A team. Great. Now you got the song going through my head. Dun, 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 dun. I love the A team. Last year at Comic-Con, MegaCon down here, they had Face from the A team. It was so cool. The guy looks incredible. He's in his 70s. But did you post? That's funny. Dirk Benedict, he's in his 70s. He looks incredible, but when he talks, you can hear it. You can tell he's old. My God, it was like I felt like a kid in a can. I was like staring wide-eyed at him. I'm like, oh my God, that's Face. I got my picture taken with him. It was so cool. I'm such a fanboy. Anyway, so the way it works, Team A and Team B, you guys will submit your stuff by email one thing. You don't each submit something. You group it together. You submit it by email to me by Thursday. Team C will then have to submit me theirs by Sunday. Now, neither of you guys are Team C. Now, this I can't stress this enough. Let's say you have 5 people on your team. Okay, so let's say Shane doesn't do any work. He's like that. He just doesn't work. The other 4 people, let's say Nicholas and Shane, you're on the same team too. And Shane is doing no work. That does not affect Nicholas's grade in any way, shape, or form. It might be a little harder for them to gather their stuff together, but if Shane didn't do anything, Nicholas does not get a penalty because Shane didn't do work. That has nothing to do with it. Nicholas might get an A, Shane would get a 0. Now, I'm going to talk about the assignment here. Let's bring it up. This one, the goal of this assignment is to work as a team. Look at the difference between excellent and proficient. This is like an A versus a B. If you have a good, solid statement at the beginning for your side, that's where you get the A. If you kind of have, let's say you were arguing, does Mars have aliens on it? Well, we all know it does. But let's say you're arguing that, and your statement said, Mars has aliens because it's red. Well, maybe that's true, but I kind of doubt it. That's kind of rambling. That's not a really good statement. If you said Mars has aliens because they discovered methane in the rocks, and the only thing that produces that kind of methane is life, so ergo, and I love ergo, Mars has had or has alien life. That's a great statement. Now, this is the next thing. This gets people confused right here. Okay? Case provided a statement indicated who contributed. At the end, just write a couple little sentences for each person saying what they did. Shane did this, Nicholas did this, John did this, Margaret did that. Just write a little sentence. If Shane didn't do anything, don't include him at the end. And there's the 0. But what this does not mean is that you each write a paragraph and then just copy and paste it together and hand it in. That's not collaborating. See? You have to show that everyone collaborated. Let's say there's 5 people in your group. And out of the 5 people, 4 of them found different articles, but they all kind of say the same thing. Then someone needs to pull that together and put it into one paragraph. That's collaboration. If you just each write a paragraph and you copy and paste them together, that's not collaboration. That's going to get you down here. Okay? Individual contributions. Very little evidence of a collaborative effort. You want to speak with one voice. That's really what it comes down to. You're not going to have 5 different voices. It's one voice that you speak with. It's a little hard to do. Just so you know, what that's called, it's called synthesis. That's where you're taking multiple things, putting them together. You're synthesizing them. It's tough to say that word in the morning. You're synthesizing them together into one statement. That's what you got with that one. And then here, you send it to me in on time. Look, you didn't send it in on time, you don't get 20 points. Right there, the best you can get is an 80. And just make sure you check your spelling. So I can't stress this enough. If someone doesn't work on your team, they cannot affect your grade. Also, work together. Combine your statements. Merge them together. Don't just copy and paste them. Okay, so that's this one. Now, the other thing you're going to be doing is you're researching credible connections. Move this over. Did you have a good screenshot and a good paragraph? Basically, you're going to do a presentation of a company that you admire. Let's say you admire Microsoft. I do. I think it's incredible what they've done. I admire Apple, too. They're wonderful companies. Let's say you admire Microsoft, and you do a screenshot, and it's screenshots of a computer. Well, that's not a very good screenshot. A computer could be an IBM. It probably is an IBM. You have a good screenshot of Microsoft, and then you give a good reason. If your reason is, well, Bill Gates is nerdy and I'm nerdy, so that's kind of cool. That's not really a good, well-developed reason. It's kind of a cool reason, but it's not a good, well-developed one. You have to have a good, well-developed reason why you like this company. You can't just say, well, I think they're cool. It's just not good enough. Now, you're going to present in this presentation, and I would recommend use a presentation program to do it, like PowerPoint or Keynote, something like that. Prezi, it's pretty good. You're going to have 4 articles you're going to review. 2 of them come from the EBSCOhost, the LexisNexis database. And 2 are anything you find. I'm going to give you a hint. Now, remember, the admins look over our shoulders with these. If they want to, they might spot check to make sure you're getting the grade you're supposed to be getting. So I'm going to tell you what you should put in here so that in case they spot check you, they don't question the grade. What you want to do is prompts in the instructions. I would recommend on one slide answering the prompts in a bulleted list. Not just one word, but maybe a couple words for each one. But then on the next slide, having a wrap-up paragraph about those prompts. That way, you cover both bases. You covered your prompts and you covered your paragraph. Okay, so that's what I would recommend for each one of these. So for 4 of them, if you do one or the other, that's good. But once again, that might get you down here or all the way down here. So do your bulleted list and then do a paragraph summing it up. And here, just make sure you have 4 pictures from the AP. And here, check your spelling and submit it on time. So right here, these are simple. This one is simple. This one's simple. This one's simple. Right there, that's 10, 15, that's 30 points right here. Then if you add in the technically 15 points here, that's 40. That's 44 points. I don't know why they changed the 14. It's supposed to be 15. Right there. If you just put a screenshot and a nice paragraph about why you're doing it, and then you do these, you just got 44 points right off the bat. It's silly to lose those points. Okay, so let me kill